Hello everybody and welcome back to Kai's Informational Corner. Today I'm here with a special guest, Koa Ferrer, and we're continuing our topic about the traditional language of Hawaii, Olelo. And this is episode 5. Koa, so happy to have you with us.
Thanks,
Tell us something about yourself moving forward for this.
Yeah, my name's Koa Ferrer. I'm a student here at ASU for journalism, same as my boy Kai over here. I'm Filipino American, or Filipino white, whatever you want to call it. Usually just spoke about the Filipino part. It's the more exciting part of me. Raised in a Filipino household, been around the Polynesian culture a lot, from California, from the Bay Area. Stand up. 415-650, whatever you want to call it, from that area of the world. A lot of Polynesians over there, a lot of huge culture over there. Filipino, all over me. Polynesian, all that kind of cultural stuff all over me. Braces on my arm, from the Philippines. I got a Makua right here. It's actually called it's called a Makua. But we got that. And yeah, I'm excited to get on here and talk a little bit with my boy about, the Olelo language and just the Polynesian culture in general. I'm not technically part of it, but I know a lot about it. I've been exposed to it a bunch in my life. So yeah, I'm excited to talk today.
Yeah, I'm super excited to get into it. Starting things off with kind of some of the media elements that's been going around in Hawaii. Very popular show got released. Chief of War was produced by Jason Momoa and a bunch of different people in the Polynesian community. It was one of the first shows actually that kind of spoke in traditional Hawaiian. It was straight Olelo, and there was a lot of mixed feedback about it, but a lot of the Hawaiians really loved the representation that it brought to the table. A lot of people, really enjoyed kind of getting that insight and firsthand experience into what the language and culture used to look like back in the day. And, kind of sparked a lot of change in the community. A lot of people were really excited about, having this type of show that represents the Polynesian community as a whole. And it was very inspiring, brought a lot of people together. But I was curious, as someone that's also in media, somebody who's always been around that type of stuff, what was something that you loved to see from the show? Because I know you watched it firsthand.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about it. The fact that it was portrayed in that Hawaiian culture way, where they weren't speaking English, there was very, very, very little English in it. For somebody that doesn't understand language like me, I had to put subtitles on to understand it, because they were talking straight Hawaiian. It was straight culture. It was basically straight from the source.
Right.
The fact that it was produced by somebody who's of that culture, Jason Momoa, I believe he's from New Zealand. No.
Yeah. So he's Samoan.
Samoa. Okay. He's from Samoa, and the fact that it's produced by somebody from that area and not from just some Hollywood producer made it so much more real. And when you want to portray, something like that, the fact that it was a series as well, over a course of time, you want to follow it more. The fact that it was portrayed by somebody who's of that culture made it just so much more real and rich, with so much culture and heritage and all that kind of stuff. And I really enjoyed it myself. I'm watching my parents a couple of months ago when it first came out, and it's captivating.
Yeah,
it's really, you are involved in it. It's almost like what my dad said. I don't know if this is messed up to say, but it really is like a luau on steroids kind of thing, because you're so immersed in the culture of it. Not saying it is luau. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I'm just saying it's just the culture.
It's one of those things that make you feel inspired, and it kind of lights up the room for a family and a community. That's kind of had their language suppressed for so many years and stuff like that.
Too. So it's just so the fact that it was in that culture and in that language, it just makes it so much better that you're just so hyper focused on all that kind of stuff. There's nothing else about it. It's just straight culture and all that kind of stuff, and it tells a story so much better in my opinion than having it be in an English translation or something like that, which makes it so much better. Yeah,
of course. And kind of talking a little bit more too about the Polynesian and more specifically the Hawaiian community as a whole. As someone who grew up there myself, it was very imperative that my grandparents and my family taught me the traditional language to pass it along to my kids. So I wound up growing up with Olelo, and making sure too that was always a part of me and my culture. Kind of felt like a violation and a a wrong step in the right direction for the language as a whole, especially for a language too that isn't spoke by too many traditional native Hawaiians. And speaking of, there's another graphic I would like to show you guys to bring this up. And it kind of talks about the diversity that you mentioned that you have in California. Well, Hawaii recently has kind of been impacted by that, and that's one of the huge reasons too as to what a lot of people consider is one of the reasons why the language is dying in this way is because so many different types of people and the diversity in Hawaii is moving out Native Hawaiians and bringing in, a higher population of Asians, of, white Americans and stuff like that. And it's been a huge impact on the community because the people who pass this stuff down generation by generation haven't really had the ability to do that with everybody moving in and less Native Hawaiians moving out. And also, speaking of that, there's a huge thing too that I brought up as a point and kind of my argument as to how to fix this problem is, being around the Polynesian community, everybody is so tight-knit. Everybody is connected in some sort of way.
Exactly.
Everybody almost knows each other. It always feels like that. I mean, I know for firsthand when I met you, the first thing we mentioned was I had a Makua necklace on too, and you did too.
Something like that,
we bonded over that. So, everybody in the community enjoys each other. They like to have fun. They like to get involved in. This is one of the points that I want to bring up as to how to revitalize the languages. With the community being as tight as it is, I think it would be amazing if we saw the community step up in a big way to try to start these initiatives, to start pushing Olelo into, the Native Hawaiian households again and get this language back on the right track and kind of revitalize it.
Exactly.
And, it's a huge part about, with every Native Hawaiian household is, there's 3 pillars: food, friends, and family.
Mm-hmm.
So, everybody
gotta have that food first.
Exactly. So, one of the things that everybody just wants to have is to have the language and the culture just still be relevant and still be considered to be in, everybody's household. But I was curious what you thought about, possibly having that as a solution.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Obviously, Hawaii is one of the biggest, I'd say, most known Polynesian groups or islands out there. I mean, about Tonga, Samoa, Fiji, all that kind of stuff. Everybody knows about them, but Hawaii is the top of the order.
Right. It's almost like kind of violating sacred land in a way.
It is very much violating sacred land.
Common thing that always happens, and you brought up perfectly my next point, which is exactly part of the solution as well. Is that the Lahaina fires were a really big deal in Hawaii, and a lot of people were impacted. I personally had family impacted from it. And, kind of growing up and seeing that area get destroyed in the type of way it was really disheartening. It was, a huge blow to the Hawaiian community. But also it made people so much closer to people because the community stepped up in a huge way. And this is one of the reasons why I think that community initiatives are the best way to go about this in bringing back the language, is because the community are the ones who set up shelters for people who lost their homes in Hawaii.
Yes.
And now homeless populations were on a rise during the fires, and now they're getting suppressed more and more because of the community helping out, giving shelter to people who lost those homes. And this is exactly why I think that initiative will work moving forward, is if you have the community come together, the type of strength that the Polynesian community has is something that not a lot of different cultures, I think, have as well. Yeah. It's one of the things, too, that, all the Polynesians pride themselves on is their culture, being close to each other, and the community that you make with those people are one of the biggest impacts into how civilization works, how you keep moving forward as a community and as an island. So I think that's a super important part. And with that being said, I will take a quick ad break and we'll be back in just a few seconds with more with Koa Ferreira. Are you new to surfing and don't know how to surf and fall off your board like this guy? If so, come on down to Jay Surfing for some surfing lessons. Thank you everybody so much for being patient. I would like to appreciate our sponsors so much for joining in on Kai's Informational Corner. We appreciate all of you. But moving back to our topic about Olelo. Yeah, I'm in the exact same boat with you. I think the awareness aspect of trying to inform people about what is going on in Hawaii and other regions too, where some of the culture is just kind of necessarily falling off in a way, and a lot of people kind of aren't getting involved with it anymore because different types of diversities are moving in and people just don't know about what's going on. But making sure that you bring the community together, making sure you inform people, and taking pride in your culture is such a huge part of it. And that's a huge thing too for Polynesians. You mentioned before, talking about your Filipino heritage, it's special to you, and it's the same way Hawaiian heritage is special to me. Exactly. And people take pride in it. Everybody involved in the Polynesian community all loves their culture. They're always talking about it. They're always showing their support for it. And basically by having that as a part of your of your character and as your personality can definitely spread a bunch of awareness to everybody who's around you and make them informed about what's going on. And I think that's the best way to kind of go about it. And, I think that's a great solution to kind of have stepping forward is making sure that, you take pride in who you are and what you grew up in and using that as a tool to inform and making sure that people understand what is really going on in your community and making sure that, everybody can come together and find peace and hopefully get the language back on track. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to Kai's Informational Corner. Koa, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate it, man. You have been a blast. I hope you guys like this episode. Make sure to stay tuned for episode 6 because we have a lot more content coming out about this. I believe my next interview is going to be with someone named Kona Tuna. So that'll be a fun one. But I'm super excited to see some more, kind of stuff going on in the community. And once again, thank you guys so much for tuning in to Kai's Informational Corner. Stay tuned for the next one. If you guys like the content, make sure to like, follow, and subscribe down below. And also comment because I want to know what your guys' favorite Polynesian food is. Koa, what's yours?
Favorite Polynesian food is a lot. I
feel like yours has to be ube bread.
That's Filipino. I wouldn't say that's Polynesian. That's very Filipino because that's straight from the source. If I had to say Polynesian, I'd say as a main course, give me a good loco moco.
Fair enough.
Loco moco or spimasubi. Dessert, pani popo.
Oh, okay. That's fair enough.
That's
For me personally, favorite dessert has got to be haupia. I love haupia. And my favorite food is going to be lau lau. I love lau lau.
When it's in the ground too.
Oh my goodness, it's so good. It's so good.
In the middle of these two.
Oh, it's awesome. But
look, excited.
Let me know down below what your guys' favorite Polynesian food is because I want to hear it. So make sure to like, follow, and subscribe once again. And this is Kai's Informational Corner.
Hang loose, brother.
Choo!